Hello and welcome back. This is Fabienne, and I've been wanting to have you listen to this podcast episode. This is an inspiring story. Katie, who lives in the UK, who owns 2 businesses, was working like crazy, spending more than 35 hours on Zoom with her clients, and she felt like she was hitting a glass ceiling in her business. Well, first of all, you're going to love her because she's super fun. I just adore her. And we talked about how in just 6 months, and this is like crazy, in just 6 months of hopping into the Boldheart container, she was able to absolutely transform her business. She had a 400% increase in her revenues to £1 million, more than £1 million. She removed herself from this crazy one-to-one delivery with her clients that she'd been doing for years of over-serving, over-giving, self-sacrifice, not having enough boundaries. And maybe you know exactly what I mean. That was me in the beginning of my business too. And into a place of empowered working, empowered leadership in her business. And it has transformed her life. I hope that you grab a notebook because she unpacks with us everything about her journey, how she's been able to delegate, hire, transform her business model so that it serves her, but also she's created this community within her client base and they get to enjoy each other and create even bigger results. So if you are staring at unending to-do list, if you are overwhelmed by the constant demands and distractions of your business, if you are trying to do it all yourself, I beg you, sister, listen to this episode and get encouraged and start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel because it exists. We're all doing it at Boldheart, and we want you to scale your business, increase your reach, have more an impact on the people that deserve to work with you, and enjoy your life, making more money, having more bliss. So I hope that you love this episode. Enjoy. Hello, it's Fabienne, and I'm coming to you with somebody who is very close to my heart. I think you're going to be incredibly inspired by Katie's stories. Okay, introduce yourself.
So for the British people, I am Katie. Katie Bell. For the Americans, as you say, Fabienne so beautifully. But I am an owner of 2 businesses. I run a physio and wellness clinic in the UK and have done for 10 years this year. I'm also the owner of Thrive Health and Wellness Business Coaching, which is a company that really just looks after clinic owners in the UK and Ireland who are completely overwhelmed, exhausted, and haven't been taught anything about how to run their business and make it work for them rather than starve them. So we just look after them on the whole of their business journey.
You've been part of Boldheart for only 6 months. And you guys, as you're listening to this, Katie's not even halfway through the first year. You're going to want to take notes and really soak this up. Take us back to 6 months ago. What was it that wasn't working in your business or your businesses that made you say, you know what, I can't do this alone anymore. I need some help. What was it like specifically 6 months ago?
So I was like a circus performer where I was the conductor, I was the person selling the tickets, I was the cleaner, I was the tightrope walker, I was the time tamer. I felt like I was everything to everybody and I couldn't drop any plates, any balls at any one time. I have a lot of energy. My friends joke that I just plug myself back in at night and then I just go again the next day. That's okay to a point, and that got me to where I was 9 years in my physio business and 3 years into my coaching business. But it was just never, ever going to get me to the next level. So I was working an enormous amount of hours. Still love what I do. I loved what I did, but there was a lot of elements of the business that just wasn't working to my strengths. I never had the time to look at what I actually wanted to do in the business. I just felt like I had to just keep doing it all. I was tolerating certain things in the business. Again, never having the time to just stop and think, Have I got the right people in the right seats? Are they working for me and for the business? So I was tolerating some things there. I was underpaying myself. And I just kind of knew that although people say, oh, you know, you're going to get burnt out and exhausted, I kind of like, I'm not somebody that really like believes in all that sort of stuff. I'm like, no, I could just keep going. I needed the business to create me some more space in my life. And I knew to take it to the next level, I couldn't just double down. I couldn't work any harder. I couldn't do any more hours. So I knew things had to change. And at that point, I was uncoached. So I'd had a coach for a number of years and I'd left that coach. Then just because I'd kind of outgrown it. And then for loads of excuses, reasons, no time, you hadn't come into my life. I just was kind of going around in circles, and I knew I needed that guidance, that accountability, that support, because I do well in that. You just need to tell me what to do, and then I just go and make it happen.
You're describing so many people's reality. I think that some people sometimes actually don't reach out for help because there's either this, oh, I'm a little bit embarrassed that I didn't figure this out on my own. For other people, it's like, I'm not sure this can actually get better. I mean, here I am at 6 figures, but can it get better? There's this where you're incredulous that you could actually make 2 times, 5 times, 10 times as much. You know, you could be like £1 million a year with all this time off. I don't think some people understand that.
No, and I think it's because it becomes your new normal.
Yeah.
When you get to 6 figures, and I got to 6 figures in both of my businesses in the first year of running them both.
Congratulations.
But it's just a number, isn't it? You know, and it has to serve you in so many other ways. The number is really irrelevant. So, but I think we often think this is just how it has to be. And who am I to take, how can I, doing what I know, and how, if I've got to this point, how can I possibly make it bigger? And it was that whole realization for me that you know what you know what you don't know, but you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And it was this whole, the stuff that I know has got me here, but there's all this stuff out there that I don't even know yet. And that is the key to taking this business to the next level and being surrounded by fabulous women who are all doing it and all making amazing leaps in their lives. And you're such an inspiration that you just go, wow, I totally can make this happen. I am just like them. I'm no different.
Yeah. I always say that finding the evidence, because, you know, there's like a confirmation bias. Have you heard of that? Confirmation bias, if some of you are listening and you haven't heard this yet, is if you think something can't be done, you will find all the evidence in the world that it can't be done. But if you find the evidence that it can be done, other women are doing it every day, that confirms your initial thing. So you saw what I was doing with all these women. It's been like, you know, a long time, several decades. And you decided to jump in. Just take us to what it is like now, 6 months later. What is your reality now? And then we'll unravel how you got there. What have you been able to accomplish in 6 months?
So I think the biggest accomplishment, and I am 6 months into this journey, and I've gone through this kind of phase where to create what I want to create, there's a lot of unraveling and there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen. So I'm going to be really honest here and say, it isn't just, oh, I'm now suddenly making millions of pounds and I've got all this time. It isn't that, but I can see it's there. So in 6 months, we have completely restructured our coaching program to take me out of the one-to-one delivery completely. That even in September, October was something that I was thinking, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I was doing 35 to 37 1-hour Zoom calls a week, wrecked energetically, emotionally, physically, you know, the whole thing.
You were offering one-to-one sessions.
Yes, we had a coaching program, but there was a big one-to-one element of it. And it was what I started with. It's what you built the business on. You then think nobody's possibly ever going to work with you unless you're doing all the one-to-one stuff. So I set myself a target to restructure, get me out completely. I decided that I joined in the June, and by January the 1st, this new model was going to be in place. I didn't know how I was going to make it happen. I thought that I could be in a place where all the clients leave and don't continue with me with this new way. And we retained at 96%. We moved everybody into the new structure. We've gone on to make more. We made more money in one day at an event than I made the entire of last year. We have made more sales since the event, since we restructured, since we announced, than we have made month on month. We're increasing. We're projected to do 400% more this year than we did last year. I am doing no one-to-one coaching. I've gone from 38 hours a week on Zoom to 3 hours a week, 3 of the 4 weeks of the month. So it's totally changed my time. Learning how to be with more time is something that is an ongoing work in progress.
When this happens to people, when they suddenly get back their whole life, they're like, what do I do?
That space has allowed me space to go into my other business, which has been going 10 years. There's been a lot of things that needed to change there as well to just get me out. So the space I've created here has allowed me to go back here, and I've had lots of great changes there, just in terms of tolerating less, bringing more systems in. We've got more structure, more systems, more everybody's working towards their big 3. We have the queen bee role. We know everybody knows what they're doing. More systems, more structure, more revenue, more time, more energy, because it's not spent on all of I was the bottleneck to both of my businesses.
Yeah, this is so common. It's so common at this stage, and people just don't know how to be because they've never been taught how to trust, how to systemize, how to get their life back. So by the end of this year, are you comfortable sharing where revenues will be? So we're in February right now.
Yes.
What do you think revenues will be, either combined or for each of your businesses?
So we will hit 1.1 million revenue combined over the 2 businesses by December 31st of this year, which is, in my physio wellness clinic, it's an increase. Great. But the biggest difference for me is in my coaching program, is being able to, because I was the bottleneck, the growth was going to be tiny, whereas we've completely restructured, brought 2 new programs in. I've got coaches working for me. I'm delivering less. Now my time is on bringing people into the program, creating strategic relationships and partnerships, delivering that front end marketing and being visible. That's what I love to do.
Yeah.
I'm just out of all the other stuff. I brought in a COO. It was just me doing the whole thing. So
and now look at you. You've got a COO, you've got systems, totally different business model. So at the end of this year, it'll be 18 months since you started Boldheart. What will that increase be?
That's difficult. I'm not good at percentages straight off my head.
Neither am I. I was hoping you were.
We are projected to do 400% increase.
Wow.
Last year. In my other business, my other business was over 500,000 revenue anyway. Bricks and mortar business is a very different business model.
Sure.
The growth isn't, you can't sort of do 400%.
It's not the same.
But we will probably have another 20% growth there. But really, for me, there it's about operationally being more efficient, streamlining, being able to get more profit out, but not necessarily just focus on going bigger all the time. Bigger is not always better.
Not always.
So it's just transformed both businesses. 6 months in.
There's another 18 months.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so you've changed your business model. You've brought on a COO. You've gotten yourself out of the day-to-day delivery. What else have you done for those who are listening and who want to get inspired and believe that they too can increase either by 400% in 6 months to a year or even 20% in a brick and mortar? What are some of the other things you've put in place that have been instrumental?
A lot of it is getting really clear on projections and how we're going to make that happen. So rather than scrambling all the time, we're going, according to our projections, we need another coach. We need another coach in June. So let's start recruiting in March.
Yeah.
So everything is more systemized. It's more planned ahead. We're not focused on what's happening today or this week. So that just allows you to, deliver better quality, to feel more planned, more prepared. Everything this year for me, being in the leverage program, is about leveraging. So it's not about just doing more things. We launched a podcast last year and we've been really consistent. We're 60 episodes in. It's made amazing amount of sales for the little tiny podcast that it is. So now it's like, let's just do that better.
Yeah.
So look at our strategy, look at our projections, look at what we're doing and go, right, how do we leverage that now? How do we make that better? What people do we need to make that happen? Because I just want to turn up and deliver the podcast. I don't want to do all the other stuff behind the scenes. So it's finding the right people. It's being confident as to what you're going to create and strategically how you're going to do that, rather than you feeling like you're the only one that has to create it.
In the beginning, for all of us, it has to be self-generated,
Yeah.
either because we're a control enthusiast or we have more time than we have resources.
Yeah.
Often we need to do it first, but there's a point at which, you hear me say this all the time, what got you here won't get you there. When you've become the bottleneck, you just have to start taking a different plan of action.
Yeah.
And you're doing just that. Let me ask you this, the leverage program. What are your, of all, because we always say it's a buffet, like there's just so many resources because different people need different things. What are the resources, the aspects of the program that have been absolutely transformational for you, or your favorite parts of the program?
So definitely the monthly pod calls that we have.
It's like a mastermind if you're listening to this for the first time. Yeah.
You get to meet some other fabulous business owners in all different industries. You have your coach or facilitator who runs the session. And I leave with that with a very clear 30-day implementation plan. Then I just go and make that happen because I dare not get on the call the month later and have not done those things because that's my personality.
Yeah, there is that healthy sense of accountability and self-competition, if you will, but loving way.
Yeah, absolutely. That has been the thing from the buffet that I am always going back to because that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Then there is obviously so many different other elements. The Q&As are really helpful. I just need this question answering. I just want to come on, get the question answered and go.
Yeah.
Just because I've had so much go on in my business in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
But you don't
For those of you listening, the Q&As are where you jump on with me practically every week. So you're never more than 6 days away from coaching directly from me. And a lot of people really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because often there's just something that's getting in your way that you don't know quite how to move forward. So you access a Q&A, as you say, you're no more than 6 days away from support at any one time. What I love is the big 2-day events that we have online.
Yeah, the quarterly activators.
Yeah, leveraging your team, leveraging your systems. So it's about really just giving yourself that time to focus on that element of your business. I always come away with masses of actions that I want to take. So I've really enjoyed, because I'm creating more space, I will be doing more of it. But coaching program is there for you. You have to use the elements that you need in the time of your business and what you need most. And that will change, but there's so much that's offered to you that if you need accountability, you jump on the implementation sessions that happen like twice a month. I don't need that. So no. I don't have to use that bit. That's okay. I don't feel guilty about that. If you need a question answering, you can jump on the Q&As. You've got your pod calls, your masterminds every month to just help keep you on track. So there's so much.
Tell me about the community. How are the women like? There's like one great guy, but how are all the ladies like?
He is great. Ladies are, when I first came on the meeting, I think I said this to you, Fabienne, before, I felt like the smallest fish in the biggest pond. I was thinking, what am I doing here? This is really just a confidence thing. Then you soon just get out of your own way with that.
And by the way, so many people feel that in the beginning and very shortly thereafter, they're like, oh, wait, I belong here.
What's the saying of rising tide raises all ships?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to dive in here into this massive ocean and I'm just going to see what happens. And the energy, the people that speak that are from all over the world that you think, oh my gosh, look what you're doing and you're creating in your life. So they're massively inspirational. They all, because you're so good at what you do, Fabienne, have the same values. It feels you're in a very safe space. People create space for you, which was an unusual concept to me.
Can you say more about that?
Yeah. So I always think when maybe past experiences or maybe being in a very male environment, that the time that I could use in any given situation was very small and I had to get through it really, really fast and then just get the answer and move on because I didn't want to take up any time. But actually in Boldheart, you have as much space as you need and people allow you the space to share what's going on, particularly in your mastermind sessions. So I think that's a real quality that your program brings that I haven't experienced elsewhere.
Yeah, I found that I had the same thing happen to me. As you probably know, I was in all the male masterminds. You name somebody that's well known, I've been in his mastermind. And there was almost this, can you hurry up and get to the point? And what I've learned is that we women actually process information by talking things through and knowing that we are held by the space. It's not like people go on, but it's more like everybody gains from it. So there's this extreme generosity vibe that happens, this like hey, let's just get on the phone. I'll help you. Like, let's talk about this online. It's really lovely to see women coming up for each other in this way. Now, there's a kind of a burning question that I have for you that sometimes gets in the way of people who are busy like you were 6 months ago. They're like, oh my God, I can't even add another thing to my business. I'm already so busy. Did that come up for you as resistance before you dove into Boldheart?
It didn't. My personality is I'm a yes person. So I'm like, I don't need to figure out the how. I just say yes, and then I'll figure out the how. I never ask questions like, how much time am I going to need in a week to be able to do this? Because if it's important enough, you'll make the time for it. Some weeks, I'm here to be completely honest, there's no connection with me. I'm doing them, then you lift your head back up and go, okay, this is what I need to reconnect with now. That's only going to improve because I'm here to create more space and more time. Without the investment, I would have just continued on the same spiral. But because I just made the decision that I was investing in this, I didn't know how I was going to make it happen. I haven't implemented everything and I haven't been on everything, but it doesn't matter because look at what I have done with the tiny amount of time that I've had. So I think it's just, if it's important enough, I think we always make changes. We wait, particularly as ladies, we wait till for things to be really bad. Or we go, I probably should do something about this. And I just urge people who are watching this, like, if you're even thinking that your business is not serving you in some way, then don't wait for it to just get worse before you take action. Just take the inspired action that feels right for you at the time, and you'll never look back.
Yeah. I call it an act of self-love. It's kind of like in my neighborhood, if somebody is not doing well, what do we do as ladies? We gather, we deliver food, we will babysit for your kids and stuff like that. We want to accept the help, knowing that it's what we need right now. This whole idea of like, oh, I'm going to try to, do it by myself, I find is one of the ways that many women in the past would hold themselves back, but just opening up and saying, you know what, I do want some help. And I am, not to sound like the shampoo commercial, but I am worth it, right? And I can increase my impact and increase my reach and increase my quality of life. Tell me about your quality of life as a result of what you've implemented in the last 6 months. How is it with your family or your downtime or?
Yeah, the biggest change has been my energy being, because I've not felt so drained and my boundaries are way tighter. It allows me to be more present and deliver and create at this scale that I've been creating at. And I've been able to protect more time because things are more planned.
Yeah.
Now, there's times when I'm still hustling. I'm still working hours because I'm in that phase of the business. It's good.
It's only been 6 months.
We can see that what's going to be created as a result of it. And that just managing my time more, being inspired by kind of how the ladies and how you manage their time. I've got more holidays allocated rather than just waiting to see if I've got time to have a holiday, which is a crazy concept. So just all of those things, more time, more holidays, because I've got more systems and structure. I had Christmas away from my bricks and mortar business, which is a very different concept to your online business. My team didn't contact me for the whole time, the 10 days, because we've got structure, we've got systems, we've got processes in place and they're empowered. So just having that protected time is a massive difference.
Yeah, I talk about the unplugged vacation as not just a concept, but as a thing that our ladies do. Many people, without going through a process like this, will never go on vacation or holiday without their laptop. This is a new normal. So we normalize not only that you can be at $1 million a year as a woman in business, but you can also take 14 weeks of unplugged vacations a year or more. And everything keeps running smoothly and, in fact, scaling and growing even without your daily involvement.
Yeah.
What's possible in 3 years for you, Katie?
Everything. Everything is possible. The only barrier is what you believe is possible, but to make it happen, I think you need to not think that you need to do it by yourself because you don't need to. I think just going back to what you said before, Fabienne, about people who, ladies, we often think, I need to have the time to do this. When the time is right, I'll go and get help. Or I hear this a lot with the clients that come into my program. I'll just get a few things sorted in my business first, then I'll do it. I just think that you'll never get things sorted in your business. There'll always be something else that comes up. You'll never have the time. So a part of this is just going, enough, stop, and make the decision that you need some help and you want some help.
Yeah, it's like it's never a good time to have a baby. I had this one woman come to an event once that I had held, and she came in with tears in her eyes, and she gave me a big hug, and she said, "I'm here." I was like, "Yeah, you're here." She goes, "No, I'm here. I saw you speak 6 years ago, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to try to do a couple things on my own, and then I'll come back." I said, "Okay, so how did it go?" She said, "I should have just done it right away. I would be 6 years ahead." It's that whole thing is giving ourselves that gift. Give yourself that gift of getting all the elements that you need. You're a cook. I'm a cook. If you want to make a wonderful cheesecake, get the cream cheese, get all the things you need, and then get in the kitchen and make it happen. Don't wait for the cream cheese to suddenly land on your lap. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but perhaps it works.
Yes, because you do need all the ingredients in your business to make it a successful product at the end of it. And I think you can try and figure it out for yourself. I always say to lots of my clients, if I wanted to learn how to play the piano, I would just go and get a piano teacher.
Yeah.
If I wanted to suddenly run a marathon, I don't. But if I did, I would just get a running coach who just tells you, you just need to, so with this, it's no different in your business. What's got you here is not going to get you there. Because if it was, you would have already done it.
Yeah, because you're smart, right? You would have figured it out. Yeah. Well, I'm super, super proud for you. It's incredibly inspiring to see somebody just come in decisively saying, okay, I'm just going to show up. You know how we always say, it's like, show up.
Yeah.
Follow the recipe, get in the kitchen with me, follow the recipe, let's go, right? The best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago. The second best time is today. And you've shown us how you've done it in just 6 months. I cannot wait to see 18 months from now what you're able to create, Katie. Hey, just a little pause here because Katie's story isn't just about transforming her business. It's also about stepping out of self-sacrifice in her personal life. And this episode keeps going because after I'd hit stop recording and we were in the green room, she decided to continue sharing about how her personal life had transformed after spending a week with me in Provence with a handful of incredible women entrepreneurs, where we got together and looked at creating an even more delicious life for these women. And Katie describes what our time together did for her in this transformative space in the south of France, where we dedicated ourselves to reconnecting with who you are as a woman and stepping away from the overwhelm personally in your life with your kids, with all of the personal demands. And I took them through an incredible process that I've been teaching for years in Provence, where we create a life for you that is absolutely delicious. And yes, we go to the famed markets and the Provençal villages and we cook together and it's a lot of fun, but it's all about stopping this idea that you have to overgive in your life. And if this feels like something that you're doing, people pleasing and putting the needs of others before your own, listen to the rest of Katie's testimonial, her story. And if it feels like an aligned offering, I'm doing my next Delicious Life retreat in Provence this June. I'll link it in the show notes. This is where we talk about not just your life, but how to make it even more delicious. Here's Katie telling you her version of this. Enjoy. Katie, you jumped in and decided to join me for a week in Provence last October. What made you want to come? What happened? What was good about it? Just tell us anything that you want to share about the week-long retreat.
So I was really new to Boldheart and in your coaching program. I joined in June and you must have put an email out announcing this retreat. I remember saying to my husband, oh, Fabienne's running this retreat in Provence. He said, why are you asking me? Why are you telling me about it? I said, well, I just thought I was just, sharing with you. And he said, well, you're going to go. And I said, oh, yeah, no, I'm going to go. I was just mentioning it to you. I came up, I sort of walked away and thought, yeah, well, I am going. I'm just going to pay and I'm just going to go. And I felt like it was a weird calling. And it was like I felt like I needed to be there. And I didn't really know why. And I thought, well, I've not really got into all of the coaching yet, so maybe I don't need to. But something just really pulled at me. And I just thought, I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
So I just booked.
What was it like to arrive and spend 5 or 6 days together? Tell me what the experience was like for you.
It was really exciting because I was the only British lady there. So there was this kind of chat of people flying in from America and New York and all these amazing places in the world. I was apprehensive, I was excited, I was nervous. And then we arrived at this stunning venue, stunning location. You were there looking amazing. Just gave us all a big cuddle. I think we all cried. And then we drank wine. And it was great. Like, I am here. This is fine. I can go.
I remember we cooked that first night together and all the ladies started coming in. We went to visit markets and villages and we had conversations by the fire and the dinners and the lunches. What was being in that container, talking about creating a delicious life, talking about having it all and whatever all means to us? What was that like for you? What did that mean? What did you get from it?
It was the only time I think that I truly stepped out of my businesses, stepped out of my life and had the space to go, what do you really want? You made us do an activity on day one. We sat down at the kitchen table and there was like fresh produce and gorgeousness everywhere. And you just instantly are in that space that allows you to create and think bigger. You asked us to write down everything that we've been tolerating in our life. I mean, mine was like a whole book by the time I'd finished.
I remember.
And so were the other ladies as well, because for the first time, we didn't have any time pressure. We didn't have any, for some of them, children and husbands and partners or pulls on you all the time. So it was that moment of, wow, this is what I have been putting up with and why. So the conversations were incredibly powerful. A lot of space was held for you. I spent definitely the first 72 hours crying.
Yeah.
Then I pulled myself together for the rest of the night.
That was good, right? It was good crying.
It was absolutely, it was like all those things that you have to push down to just go through life and feel like you need to push them down to get to the next level. And there's only certain people that you ever really show those feelings to, or, and a lot of people don't really get it if they don't run a business and, aren't in the same situation. But all of these ladies did run super amazing businesses. They were from all over the world, all different ages, all different backgrounds. We just had such fun and created friendships for life. We ate amazing food. We cooked amazing food. We drank fabulous wine. Yeah, it was just everything that you could possibly want.
There's something about the magic of Provence where we're surrounded by so much beauty. It's an invitation to see how much more beauty can I experience in my life? How can I have this even better for all of us? Like, we're already having really lovely lives, but this question of, can I have more deliciousness, more pleasure, more beauty, more free time, more love, more anything that we want? And this idea of permission and then doing it in this incredible environment that is Provence. What would you say you shifted the most as a result?
While I was there was so much going on in my head. So I was so inspired by everybody. My brain was processing all of these amazing feelings and sounds and thoughts and visuals. And it was just like everything was heightened. And I remember going to bed on the first night and the next morning we had to be up at this certain time because we've got, something to do together. I was still awake at 3 a.m, like journaling, because my brain was on overdrive. It was so powerful. I remember coming away thinking, I've got all these books I want to read now and these podcasts I need to listen to and this action list. I came back and just everything had shifted. I went on to create things in the business and set myself deadlines and tasks to make sure I got things done that were going to serve me.
Yeah.
So I up-leveled everything. I came home and chucked all my towels out, all my bedding out. I was just clearing out because I was like, no, I'm going to go for the next level of everything. It was my environment first, because that's really important.
Yeah.
And then it was okay, how do I create more time? How do I create more systems? How do I create more of all of the things that I want in my life. And people were like, what has happened to you? Because you're just doing all of these things now.
As women, we're socialized to put the needs of everybody else before our own needs.
Yeah.
It's that pushing down of like, what is it that makes me feel happy? What is my bliss? What is my joy? What is my pleasure? And, you know, like on an airplane, you're asked to put your needs first before taking care of other people. I have just noticed that because of the way that our society is built, we're not even on the priority list, not even at the top of it. We're not on the list.
Right.
And when we get ourselves back on the list, it really is like absolutely transformational. I don't think you can have conversations about having it all and creating a delicious life. You can't do that in between client appointments or in between doctor's appointments. Like you need a good 5 days of experiencing pleasure and talking about having it all for it to actually make a shift and a dent.
100%. There is no way you can create that. I would say, I mean, we went to a different country to create this.
Yeah.
But look at the results and the transformations the ladies, because we still talk, you know, are making and have made is relative to the shifts that went on in the retreat and the things that we talked about and the experiences that we had. Like if you want amazing things in your life, you've got to go and do something a bit different.
Yeah.
And that was for me. I saw it and I was like, food, wine, France, coaching. I'm in.
Markets. We went to the Lavender Museum. We just did so much fun stuff.
Wine tasting. We did olive. Oh, we just did. It felt like I'd been away for about a month because we did. I think you just gave us the experience, Fabienne. And it was a very touching experience because you showed us elements of your life and how you have created things in your life that means that you maximize how much love you can have and what you experience in the food and the wine and the social and the conversations. You invited us into that and you led by example, and we couldn't not then step up and go with you.
Yeah. People think creating a delicious life is really complicated and maybe even expensive. I'm here to say creating a delicious life, actually about simplifying your life. As you know, the name of my company is Boldheart. It's about taking your ear to your heart and listening really hard. What does your heart want? What is it that makes you happy and blissful and blissed out? And then boldly making those actions. Really, it's about also giving ourselves permission to stop pushing that beach ball into the water, stop putting everybody else's needs first and take up more room, take up and speak up.
You can only do that when you give yourself the space to go, what is working for me right now and what's not.
Yeah.
So even after day one, we just had the space to go, what is serving me and what is not serving me. That alone allowed people to then think, okay, what am I going to change first? How can I just take that little step, that next little level? It's not about going from here to here. It's just about, like me, I'm just going to upgrade the towels. Then I'm going to do this with the bedding. I'm going to wear, more red lipstick, and I'm going to do this with my hair or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be grand, but everything is possible. But you have, by being in that space, you could feel that everything was possible.
Yeah. I'll never forget that week. That we had so much fun. We laughed, we cried. And what happens in Provence stays in Provence. So that's all I will say. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, Katie. I had a wonderful time with you there. And I know some of you are threatening to come back. And I think that will be a wonderful reunion.
Oh, definitely. I just hope that ladies listening to this, allow themselves the permission to just go, yes. If it feels like it's calling you like it did to me, then just do it. Just do it.
It's a gift to be in the conversation of creating a delicious life. Thank you so much for your kind words, Katie.
You are welcome.